along with Matt Morgan. Glenn Rubenstein is not here today or tomorrow, but he will be joining us this week after TakeOver and after SummerSlam. It is the post-Raw edition of the Wrestling Inc. podcast. It's Monday, August 5th. Matt, how are you doing tonight?
That's how I'm doing tonight. Did this get you excited for SummerSlam? I was going to ask last week.
Yeah, no, I tweeted that earlier. I felt like very little got me more excited for SummerSlam than I was yesterday. And this was a go-home show.
They would be in a world of hurting if they were still relying on pay-per-view, I feel.
Yeah. I do feel like the Goldberg thing helps a little, but that's it.
I mean, but what intrigues you to it? Is it intriguing?
Just that it's Goldberg.
Going to be bad? What intrigued you?
I think I think Goldberg wants to make up for that match he had with The Undertaker, and to do that, it can't be a 30-second squash. Then I think it can't be a long match either, but I think probably go 5 to 7 minutes, something like that. Get your power moves in, get Dolph, allow him to get some of his stuff in.
He's
and then
got the best opponent. If I could have picked an opponent to pull a match out of him, I honestly, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler would be my two choices as far as just amazing workhorses that can work with anyone and make them look great. Yeah.
And, I know Goldberg gets a lot of crap for the match with Taker. He was concussed early in it.
Hello.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the fans were hot for it. I mean, it was like him and Becky Lynch were like the only people they were hot for all night. Even Shawn Michaels, they weren't that hot for.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. All right, so so the show started. They had a "We Stand You" message on the big screen with outlines of Texas and Ohio paying tributes to the victims of the shootings this past week in El Paso and Dayton. And they did a 10-bell salute. So that was very classy.
I did that tonight before my city commission meeting, right? It was like sent our deepest, most sincere condolences, and I talked a little bit about it, right? Mm-hmm. And after my meeting was over, one of the residents walked up to me and said, hey, you missed one of the shootings. Like, what do you mean? And she's like, there's one in Mississippi as well. And I was like, really? I watched all the news on this. I guess I missed it. I was like, that's even worse if that's the case.
That was a few days ago, though, right? Before the weekend? I don't know.
I was talking about the 48 hours, where we got hit hard, Dayton and, El Paso. But, I was like, well, how did I miss that on the news cycle, though? I watch it all the time. But I was wondering if you heard of it.
Yeah, I thought there was another Walmart shooting somewhere else, like last week during the week.
But they're great with this to transition it back. They're very good with these types of things.
Yeah, and our thoughts with everyone in those areas and everyone affected.
So scary.
Yeah, it's frightening. But I could go on forever about that. That's a discussion for another day. But yeah. But from there, we went to Samoa Joe standing on top of the announce table, yelling at Michael Cole, Corey Graves. And
if you didn't watch the show, you heard that. That's
So real quick, some people in the comments are pointing out that there was one in Gilroy last week too. You're saying that this lady said Mississippi?
Yeah.
Maybe she meant Gilroy, because Gilroy, there was that one last weekend at the Garlic Festival.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So yeah, Joe is upset. He's upset about being blamed for the mystery attack on Roman Reigns.
I can't take it serious. I can't.
Yeah, it seems a little unlike him that he'd be upset about being accused for something like that. But
no, he's always upset. That's the best part. Joe's always pissed. He's always angry, especially TNA Joe. But he's always yelling.
He was almost a quasi babyface by the end of the show. But,
he was.
But he demanded that Michael Cole show that footage again to determine the truth. They showed the video package of that attack. You know what? I thought that attack looked like garbage last week, but tonight's was a lot more well done.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, Joe threatens threatens to shut down the show, and then Becky Lynch's music hits, and so I guess he can't if her music hits. So that was the end of that.
Didn't you know if you disagree with somebody, the new gimmick now is just have your music entrance just there?
Yeah, that's all this time. That's all they had to do.
Go to your restaurant at the cash register, paying out, it's like $32 or something like that. And you're like, No, I don't feel like paying for this, babe. Hit my music.
Yeah. So we went to the first match of the night: Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair versus Natalya and Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus's first match on Raw in forever.
This was cool. I was excited for this. I'll admit it.
Yeah, and Trish never actually got in the ring, right? She.
I don't believe so. Was something wrong with her?
No, I think that it seemed to me like they're trying to save her in-ring action for SummerSlam.
Which is cool. That makes sense. That's how old school booking is usually done.
Right. Yes. And yeah, exactly. I mean, part of the whole thing that's special about this match is Trish wrestling for the first time in a long time, since the Royal Rumble since Evolution. But yeah, so we had Becky and Charlotte basically not getting along. Finally, Charlotte left Becky to hang. Natalya puts Becky in the sharpshooter, and basically would not let Becky hit the ropes. Natalya would not let it go, put her back in the ring, and they got DQ'd. So the match ends in a DQ, and Natalya kept the hold on Becky.
Okay, the part with Charlotte leaving was smart because Becky was booked in a very tough situation. She's going against a tag team with Natty, who you could still say both girls were 50-50, right? You could see people, as far as who the babyface of the two were, in my opinion. But having Trish Stratus on her team front loads her as babyface, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? Big time. So how the hell do you get yourselves out of that? You try your best by having Charlotte bounce on her and build sympathy for Becky, I guess.
Yeah, and then by the end, Natalya was acting heelish. After the match, Natalya stared Trish down, which is the ultimate heel move, right?
That was good. That was definitive. Definitive.
Yeah. So after the match, Trish checked on Becky. So yeah, that was that. I thought this segment was pretty good. I like this stuff.
Well done. That was really well done. It's what just transpired because going into it, I'm like, oh no, they're gonna make Becky look like a heel here, kind of, sort of. How are they gonna? You know what I mean?
Right.
But, Natalya, that was smart. This was actually really good booking, really good writing on this, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. So up next we had Rey Mysterio versus Andrade. They showed the clip last week of Andrade trying to take off Rey Mysterio's mask. So this one I thought was really good. And again, a really good match, but neither of these two are booked on SummerSlam. But
you guys all love this. You guys and the guys on my Twitter feed, a lot of many fans, more fans. I'm left out on this. I'll admit it. I'm not seeing it. I don't know why I don't connect with these two.
Mysterio?
I know it sounds crazy. He's a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Friend, but Mysterio versus Andrade, I'm saying.
Oh, gotcha.
That particular matchup, everyone else has been dying for it. They love that matchup. They wanted to see more of it, I remember. And we gave it to it. They gave it to him. I was just like, I could fast forward this match if I could.
I think that's one of the problems with this feud is that they've given this match a lot on free TV. They haven't had, and they've cut it short. Like when you
give it away on SmackDown? Bunches.
What's that?
Didn't they give this away on SmackDown?
Oh yeah, a bunch of times. There was that time when they were wrestling like every week for a while, and Andrade was winning at the beginning, and then they started going back and forth, and it looked like they were going to have a match at WrestleMania, and that was completely dropped.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, at the end of this match, we saw Zelina Vega do the distraction. Andrade took advantage, hit the double underhook for the pin to get the win. And he celebrated after the end of the match. So, yeah, this was a lot of people thought they might have a stipulation with these two at SummerSlam, but SummerSlam has already got like 11 matches.
Yeah.
Probably going to have a couple more added. So, I mean, yeah, Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan hasn't even been official, so that would be 12. So, you don't need more on this card.
No.
So, all right.
Good match, though.
That was a good match. Up next, we had Maria and Mike Kanellis at our OBGYN appointment. So the OBGYN office, they don't even try anymore. It's just like they have curtains on the side, for the wall. They just had curtains over there. It's clear it's part of the arena. They didn't even shoot this somewhere else. But yeah, they had her and him waiting for the doctor in the appointment. Turned out the doctor was a referee, and Mike covered her to get the pin, regain the title. As he was leaving, R-Truth is in the waiting room dressed up. And you can guess what happens. R-Truth beats him and regains the title.
So we were just a tad bit wrong just a tad, just a shade. We called this was going to happen, that they were going to be. We said before this was going in this direction, they're going to end up at the OBGYN. And except we thought, what's his name? Was
R-Truth would be
with the doctor, and he would pin her. You know what would have been hilarious and so more emasculating for poor Mike if she made him get in the stirrups. Your ass up there now. Get him. You want the title? Get up there. You know what I mean? Until big dog him again. I feel bad for him, but it is funny stuff.
I mean, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think this 24/7 stuff is. I know Jump the Shark is Jump the Shark, but this thing I think it's no longer. I didn't find this funny at all.
Hey man, you need to help me here because I use that phrase a lot. Has Jump the Shark officially jumped the shark?
I don't know if like kids still use it nowadays.
Oh, please tell me.
I think it's just us old folk.
I use it way too much then. Oh, you need to tell me this stuff, dude.
I'm not sure, but I don't hear the younger folks.
Like my dad and stuff and saying, it looks. What does he say? Not cool. What was his word? They just say this ridiculous word every Christmas. If I open something that's not really exciting, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Sucks.
That was radical.
Yeah, he's something. Yes, something like that. Oh God, that was like 10 years ago. Stop.
And backstage, Charlie Caruso was backstage with Becky Lynch. Becky said she wasn't worried about Natalya having the home advantage in her country at SummerSlam. She said she's been letting Canada down for her whole career. And she says that she's the one thing that Natalya's career needs, and she will give Natalya's people a new hero on Sunday. Natalya, she did a promo, said that there's going to be a big celebration in Canada on Sunday. And Natalya says Becky can break her arm at SummerSlam, but she still won't tap out. I thought good stuff from both of them. Becky had a killer promo over the weekend that they didn't show on this. Yeah, you should see it. It's on
YouTube.
It's like on social media. Yeah, but it was one of Becky's best promos in a long time. She's talking about how she was friends with Natalya, and Natalya visited her in the hospital after the Nia Jax stuff, and then she found out she was training Ronda Rousey behind her back, and how she was a snake in the grass, and all this stuff, like really tying in like stuff that would really upset people in real life.
Wanted her to talk about.
Yeah. So up next, Brock Lesnar, WWE Universal Champion Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman. Pretty much the same stuff with Heyman that we see every week.
I hate that he's the Universal Champion, by the way. I hate it.
What's that?
I hate that he's the Universal Champion. I hate it so much.
It's just so redundant.
It is. It's nothing. I can't believe I'm saying that about Brock Lesnar, but it's boring to me.
Yeah, and I'm a big Brock fan, but just doing the same thing week in and week out, not having Brock say anything, and I'm not convinced that Brock has something in his contract that doesn't allow him to wrestle for more than 10 minutes, because he hasn't wrestled for more than 10 minutes in years.
Probably does. He probably does. He's one of the sweetest deals I've ever seen in WWE as far as doing whatever he wants, whenever he wants, throwing titles at Vince McMahon's face, and then back again for more money.
Yeah,
I mean, get owned more than by him. Shawn Michaels, to my understanding, who used to own the crap out of Vince in that company over the years. But yeah. I would, come on, Brock, you got to put him right up there.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. And if anyone in the chat can think of a match where Brock wrestled for more than 10 minutes in the last few years, there was that SummerSlam four-way match with like Roman and Samoa Joe, but he got stretchered out during that. So anyway, Brock as a character, I'm a fan, but this has gotten old, and this just got worse. Seth comes down with the chair. Lesnar laughs at him. Ends up, Rollins comes in limping, just acting like he got out of a
Spirit of '76.
Right? Yeah. And then Lesnar basically took Rollins' chair from him, beat the crap out of him, just toyed with him, F5'd him a bunch of times.
This is where they need to be. How do they not see the burial of this? How do they not see, okay, one guy looks like a man, and the other one looks like a little boy. And the little boys walk into the ring with a equalizer, a chair. Everyone knows when someone hits a ring with a chair, even if it's Hornswoggle, I powder, he has a chair. He's going to hurt me with it. Do you know what I mean? It's an equalizer of any standards, of any height, you know what I mean? Any size differential, the chair is the equalizer.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, they continue to emasculate these younger guys versus Brock, no matter who the hell they are, except for maybe Braun. No, Braun did the job too, remember? Like 2 seconds. when they
Right.
wrestle. They just keep emasculating these guys and lessening them and making them look like wusses.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's why.
absolutely. I mean, when you bring a chair, yeah, like to your point, that means at least you should be going 50-50 until the other guy uses an underhanded tactic or something.
Yeah,
But you
man.
don't introduce the chair, your weapon, and then you can still get your ass kicked.
Seriously, it's the dude who pulls a gun on or a knife in the middle of a fight, and the dude still beats his ass with it. You're like, damn, that guy's tough.
Right.
You know what I mean? The other guy sucks, and that's the situation here.
It gets worse. Rollins then cut this promo. Just sounded like the whiniest, just the whiniest wuss you've ever heard. He talks about it, how he's like, I don't know if it's all worth it. This is all he's ever wanted. He starts getting the what chant. Fans are booing him. They really did a number on Rollins here. And then after all that, he goes, oh, by the way, I guarantee I'll win at SummerSlam. So
Squeaks McGee. Well, listen, Squeaky was crazy over at one point. How do they manage to do this? How do they, more importantly, don't see that or hear the fan reaction? More importantly, I know we're not the only podcast, I guarantee you, is crapping on this segment right now or throughout the week, right?
Yeah.
So eventually they have to hear, see this, whatever, or listen to the fans. That's their best gauge. And continue to ignore it and go, well, wait a minute. We had a guy that was kind of almost, I would say, not white hot necessarily, but he was kind of getting there. And you've ruined it. This is like the moral of the story every single week. They get guys and girls that are, especially in today's generation, I would argue it's so hard to get over to that level that Becky got over. And they just manage to find a way to lessen it. It's like they go out of their way. How do you write this tonight? And go, on paper, it says Seth Rollins comes to the ring. Mind you, he's supposed to be our number one babyface. We're supposed to be pushing to the moon and be the hood ornament of this company. P.S. He's walking to the ring with a weapon, and he's still going to get his ass kicked by Brock Lesnar. Who wrote that? And who thought this was a great idea? I don't understand it.
And then don't forget the whiny promo at the end.
Oh, and then the beater promo afterwards, which I'm sure they didn't imagine him cutting in a bad way. He just ended up cutting in a bad promo.
Yeah. I have a feeling, oh, man. They've done a lot of damage to him. I bet you he's going to be booed pretty heavily against Lesnar this Sunday.
It's a shame because he's got it. I think he's got it all. I really do. Out of all the guys on that roster, Drew, him, some others, but his promos were starting to be a little bit better, if you remember. They weren't terrible. He wasn't being squeaky.
Right.
You know what I mean? He wasn't being, not, when I say squeaky, I mean complainer. You know what I mean?
Right.
When your babyface complaining and sounding like a whiner. He's a badass athlete, and he was being booked as one. And then now this crap. It started with Becky. That's when it started.
That's when it started declining fast.
For both.
Yeah, yeah. At least Becky's starting to get some of it back.
Yeah.
But Seth, I feel bad for the guy.
Yes.
He almost needs a heel turn at soon because he's losing any edge that he had.
In his matches, he wrestles, not to like go with his tweet he made a few weeks back or whatever, but he's right in that regard. He doesn't phone it in as heavyweight champion. He doesn't give it like Hulk Hogan A, B, and C match. He gives his A+ effort every single match like it's a pay-per-view performance, and he does it even on house shows. Like that's hard to keep up with doing, not get hurt.
Yeah.
And this is what you rate for him. You don't do that to a guy that busts his ass like that.
Yeah. They really need to turn him heel. And I hate saying that all the time, but WWE they just don't know how to book strong baby faces.
Give us something else to say, please.
Right.
I'm begging you guys, give us something else to say. I feel like we just start lying. We should just start lying to fans.
Yeah.
I changed the show and just start saying that was awesome. Seth Rollins is great tonight.
Just do the opposite.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So backstage, Charlie Caruso was with Kurt Angle. They were in Pittsburgh tonight, his hometown. He got a good pop, and then the Street Profits came in. Gave him some milk. Angle said how he promised his wife he wouldn't do anything crazy, and so he agreed to just one cup of milk. He's one of the biggest stars in the wrestling industry. This is what they have him doing. But then Drew showed up. He basically intimidated everyone. Said he comes in peace, but he wants to make sure that Angle calls his upcoming match with Cedric Alexander down the middle because of their past. and basically said if he doesn't, he's going to crack his skull open. So,
I think it's true.
So,
I mean, okay, again, whoever you write this part of the show, right? And it comes up and you're writing pen to paper. Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist, front cover of the Wheaties box, multiple champion, Hall of Famer. The man is a freaking cyborg, right? Well, the best of all time, hands down. And you have an opportunity to give the Street Profits a rub with him. And this is the shit you write. This. It makes me it does. It makes me angry. For both Kurt and those two kids.
Yeah.
That's the rub you give them? Come on.
Yeah, I think the first couple of weeks you see the Street Profits, you can see they're cool guys, you can see that they're cool. And every week they kind of make them seem less and less cool. And,
yes. Yes, this is the moral of the story. They are a walking decrescendo. This company in every which way possible for baby faces.
Yeah. So that was that. We went to. There's a lot of people on the show tonight that aren't even on the SummerSlam card, and they're probably not going to be. Like up next, the Viking Raiders.
You don't think that's smart for a go-home edition for baby? This guy who you're not going to see this weekend.
Right? Yeah. So next we had the Viking Raiders against two enhancement talents, Jay Alexander and Eric Abraham. The usual squash match. Viking Raiders dominated, hit the Viking Experience double team to get the pin and the win. Crowd was silent again.
Okay, they have, but I still feel they need to keep racking these wins up because of the abuse they took when they first started in this company with their names. I do. I know they're meaningless. They're not getting over, but they're going to eventually be able to point back like they've been on a winning streak. They've been on a tear here in WWE. They've been undefeated in the last 8 weeks. Whatever have you, they kind of can hit the reset button, in my opinion, because we keep saying wins do matter here. Even though they're the two local drivers or enhancement, who cares? They're wins. They're not losing. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think they should have been on tonight because they're not on this weekend.
Yeah. Usually, though, you see like when Braun, when they did this, like week after week when he's doing the squashes, he's starting to get over. Like the crowds are starting to get into him.
That was Braun, and that was Nia. Yeah.
Right. But with Viking Raiders, you're not seeing that at all. I just wonder if the garb is just too silly for fans to consider that.
Very well. I think it is, but I just assume I'm alone in that.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well, let's talk about this for a little bit, this next thing. WWE Hall of Famer Harley Race passed away at the age of 76 this past Thursday. They aired a nice tribute package for Harley. I thought it was WWE, their production on these is just top-notch. I thought it was a great tribute. Your thoughts on Harley and his passing?
Just so amazingly humble guy. He's at more shows than he's not. I swear to God, even when I was working there, he's like just randomly backstage, sitting in a chair, like in so many different arenas. And I'm not just talking about when we were in Kansas City, but like literally in all different parts, like where you wouldn't think Harley Race would be, just hanging out there, backstage. Not house shows, always TV, but I'm like, holy shit, this Harley Race. He's just hanging out there. I'm gonna go talk to him, and just super humble, super nice. He'll watch your stuff if you ask him to. He'll tell you it's the shits too if it was. But so respected, obviously, by so many. And WWF fans didn't really. If you only watched WWF as a little kid, you really didn't get a good feel for why he was so well regarded and why he was so. People talk so highly of him. Different wrestling bodies were back in the NWA and AWA. You didn't have to be overly muscular and jacked like WWF New York did. It was based on your wrestling ability more than anything. And Harley Race had it in spades, and therefore that's why he was so over. King of WWF, it was King Harley Race, and he never was anything close, in my opinion, to how over he was when he was with NWA.
Well, even now, you look at pictures of him in the NWA, and he just had a badass look. But when he has the robe and the crown, it's just hard to have that gritty badass look that he had. And so for me, to your point, I was a WWF fan when I started, and I started in '87, and I remember watching Harley Race versus Hulk Hogan on Saturday Night's Main Event in '88, and I'm like, I just don't get it. Him being a threat to Hulk.
Same thing. Same exact thought. Was like, I'm not worried about this. Hulk's gonna kill him.
Right. Yeah. And they had a competitive match. Harley went through the table. Actually, legit got injured in that match, and that his WWF run was pretty much over after that. He had one match with Haku at the Royal Rumble after that to regain the crown.
Talk about
that he lost.
badasses.
Right.
Wow.
Harley Race versus Haku.
I gotta watch that.
Yeah. Now that was actually a good match.
Oh.
But yeah, it wasn't until like the years later that I started learning like what a badass he was. And
You go back in time and watch the matches back in the day, like, wow, holy crap.
yeah, you watch his stuff with Flair.
I want to put over Flair.
Yeah. And he was one of the ones, he was probably the only guy I was intimidated interviewing ahead of time. And when I actually interviewed him during the interview, he was great. I could tell he didn't want to break kayfabe too much. I asked him about the Hulk Hogan gun story, and I asked him about...
Oh, good question. I would have asked him that. That's a good question.
Yeah, and I asked him about Vince trying to pay him off at Starrcade 83 to no-show the event. And, he gave very polite answers.
I never heard that about Starrcade. Was that true?
Yeah, it was true. And Harley, basically with Hogan too, he didn't. He basically confirmed it, but didn't go into detail. He was just like, "Well, Hogan,
That's so gangster."
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
and so we were going to do a little flashback article looking back at that interview. So that's going to be up on the site tomorrow. But yeah,
were you okay? So you said you were what? Nervous or intimidated?
Yeah, just going in, and he's the only one ever.
But I guarantee you weren't scared he was going to beat you up.
No.
You didn't want to feel like you were going to disrespect him or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that I wasn't asking like softball questions or him being like, listen to this, Mark, because he's got that rep as a complete badass. And
yes, I know what you mean.
Don't want to sound like a nerdy wrestling site owner. So,
yes.
But one of the greatest. And I think a lot of people became wrestling fans a little after his heyday. So I thought they did a great job in that video tonight. Up next, Drew McIntyre versus Cedric Alexander. This was, it was kind of nothing. Drew just kind of kicked the crap out of Cedric outside the ring, beat him down the ramp to the ringside area as Kurt Angle was watching from the ring. Kept attacking, so they started fighting in the stands, and then Angle was in the ring alone. Lights go out, start flashing, and we see the Fiend who attacked Angle and put him in the mandible claw. And
that was cool. I thought that was cool.
So Bray Wyatt a couple weeks ago thanked Mick Foley after Raw reunion. So I think part of that reason is he's probably got permission to use the mandible claw.
Awesome. It works for him.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they didn't. Again, we got SummerSlam. This is the go-home show. They didn't do like a graphic. I don't even think they did a graphic for Finn versus Bray. If they did, I missed it. But it's very under the radar.
It is, and the other thing is that people are going to say, "Well, wait a minute, you're getting Kevin Owens, you're doing the stunner." This is not the same thing to me. I don't know why it's not. I'm just telling you what I watch and what it makes me feel immediately. I share it with you guys. I don't BS you that I watched this show, and I didn't get that. I never once go, "Who's copying?" I was like, damn, you know what? That fits. That is a shoe that fits perfectly.
Right.
What it felt like.
Yeah. And the thing with the stunner, like Ember Moon kind of does the stunner, and it looks badass because she puts her own spin on it. And,
ever. I think that's the hardest finisher on the planet.
Yeah.
I can hear that. Oh, my God.
Owens just looks terrible. I'm a big Owens fan. Up next, we have the OC versus the New Day. They noted that Kofi Kingston was out with championship obligations.
Timeout. What's bigger than champion obligations of being at the damn show?
Well, so originally they had a house show scheduled for tonight.
Did they say that?
No, they didn't, because they canceled the whole weekend. So they canceled Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, all the SmackDown Live events this weekend because of poor ticket sales.
Don't think. Wow, that's terrible. Oh, wow, that's terrible.
I've never seen that before. For a whole weekend.
Has that ever happened?
I can't remember it ever happening with WWE. They've canceled. They've done all these cancellations this winter because of the Saudi Arabia show, which is that's going to be on Halloween that Thursday, October 31st. The Crown Jewel 2. They're going back in Riyadh.
It feels like they've been there 50 times already. What do you mean Crown Jewel 2?
Well, this is the fourth event in Saudi Arabia, but the second one that's called Crown Jewel.
Okay.
But yeah, so they're going to be there Thursday. SmackDown's Friday. I don't know if they have enough time to get there in time, or if they'll just do an all-women show on SmackDown, or just split crews. But we'll see. And the week before that, also, that's going to be the one week that SmackDown's preempted on Fox because of the World Series with Game 3.
Yeah.
So back to this, the OC versus New Day ended quickly when AJ interfered. They're beating up the New Day, and out came Ricochet, which, as we see it every week, leads to a 6-man tag. And Anderson and Gallows hit the Magic Killer on Woods to get the win. So,
all right, would you be mad at them instead if they said, Ricochet makes the save, crowd pops, he just makes the save, the heel, he doesn't get a chance to get his hands on the heels powder. They put off the 6-man until, let's say, next week wasn't SummerSlam, and it was Monday Night Raw instead. Wouldn't you rather it be that would be the 6-man next week versus getting it all in tonight?
Absolutely, because again, the OC versus the New Day, they're not on the card. It's AJ and Ricochet, and you showed that one. You showed Ricochet clearing the ring at AJ, and that I felt like was enough for this week.
Too much. There's no reason to show that. Don't even let them touch, especially trying to sell AJ versus Ricochet. Let them make the save. The save enough is not the physicality. The save is hitting the ring and people being scared of you, getting the hell out of there.
Right.
It's no part of you. It makes you look like a bigger badass than you really are. You don't even have to be physical with your opponent that you got coming up at the pay-per-view. Yeah. Make us pay to watch you guys. I mean, we've seen them enough. See, that's the downside. We have wrestled already.
Yeah. But have them cut a couple promos. At least have AJ cut a promo. Maybe Ricochet say a few lines, but keep it short and sweet. But just really hit home that they're wrestling this Sunday.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't get that.
Yeah. So back. Oh, go ahead.
No, especially the Finn Balor match. I didn't get any of that.
Right. I mean, I had to go back during the show and check the SummerSlam card to see what was happening because I just felt like they weren't hitting it hard for what's supposed to be one of their biggest events of the year. So we saw Samoa Joe backstage talking to a staffer who said that Reigns was on his way. He's almost there. So Joe goes to the back. He's waiting for Reigns. They cut to a commercial, come back, and Joe is there calling out Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns comes in a car. He starts to get out of his car to go to Joe, and then all of a sudden they do the camera cuts, and then a car nails Reigns' car. Camera cuts similar to the boxes falling on him last week, but this I thought looked a lot better.
It did. Much better.
And it was a cool little touch where they had Samoa Joe acting concerned, and not overly concerned, but still maintaining, his badassery, but
while just witnessing vehicular homicide. Yes.
Right. Exactly. So we came back from break, and you saw Triple H had went in to check on Reigns, and Samoa Joe's asking for security and a medic, and Reigns is clutching his shoulder. So this is leading to Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. I was saying, since this is Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, they should have had a Prius nail the car.
It doesn't this seem a little outside of Daniel Bryan's wheelhouse, though? Come on.
And not just that, this is the biggest, this is the most watched show, Raw, of the week before your pay-per-view, and you still haven't set this match up. You know what I mean?
Daniel Bryan at all.
Yeah. So, they'll probably do it on SmackDown, but you haven't set up one of your big matches on the card days before the show.
This cheat getting Daniel Bryan on your show, too, and you don't take it?
Yeah, I think, you know what? Something like this, it's almost like you do it over a few months. Not every week Roman's getting attacked, but every few weeks he's just got this mystery attacker that's after him. And then on the Fox debut, you have the reveal.
There you go.
But they're not doing that. So anyway, oh man, this next match, it went forever. The Fatal 4-Way Elimination match for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. They had a lot of really talented people, women in this match, with the Kabuki Warriors against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, against Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville versus the Iconics. The problem is they made these tag titles just mean absolutely nothing for 4 months.
Unfortunately.
So the first fall...
I still feel the Kabuki Warriors is a very bad, it makes me uncomfortable almost now. I feel like something's wrong here. They should not be calling them that.
Right. Like
without getting into politics.
5 years from now, someone's gonna find me
Yeah,
saying those
yeah.
words on here.
I'm
He's gonna
calling
guess
6
me.
months from now. Like that's what it feels like to me. It feels like it's wrong. They should be calling him that. I don't know. Keep going. Sorry to cut you flow.
All right. So anyway, they had the Iconics looking strong, so it was pretty obvious that they were probably going to be the first ones out, and they were. So Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville eliminated the Iconics, so we were guaranteed new champs. The next fall, we had the Asuka and Kairi Sane eliminating Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. So you pretty much knew then that Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were winning. Just it was by the numbers booking. And that's what happened. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss hit Twisted Bliss on Kairi Sane and covered her for the win, and they won the tag team titles. So new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions.
They love Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
He keeps winning titles.
Yeah, and she's in title matches all the time. And it's interesting because she's been injured a lot. And a lot of times when you're injured a lot, they don't keep putting you in those situations.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah. They really do.
For Nikki Cross, though, because I assure you, Nikki Cross, 5 months ago, I couldn't have, ever predicted she'd be a champion there.
Yeah, it wasn't looking good for her there for a while.
Right.
So, yeah, finally we had a special edition of Miz TV. Miz comes out. He says to make sure that the contract is signed, he brings out Shawn Michaels. Shawn came out, a nice pop, but nothing out of the ordinary. Then Dolph Ziggler came out, talked about how he's the legend in the ring, and he'll finally get his credit when he beats The Miz at SummerSlam. So Ziggler signs the contract. Then Miz says he can't wait to get his hands on Ziggler next week on Raw. So Ziggler's looking confused, and I thought Ziggler did a really good job here. But
yeah, he did.
Yeah, so Miz said he didn't read the fine print. They're not wrestling at SummerSlam, but Ziggler's facing somebody else. Ziggler starts looking at Shawn Michaels, and they kind of tease that it might be Michaels, and the crowd wasn't going crazy for that.
They did, though.
Huh?
I wish they did go crazy because that's a matchup. Just what's the word? As far as work goes, I really would have liked to have seen.
Yeah.
Similar bumping feeders and whatnot.
Right. And then Shawn said it wasn't him, and enough people, read on sites like ours. I think it was the Observer first reported that it's going to be Goldberg, and fans started chanting Goldberg, and then Goldberg's music came out. He came out to a huge pop. Entered the ring. Ziggler hit the floor. Goldberg signed the contract and took the mic, said, Ziggler, guess what? You're next. Ziggler's throwing a fit, gets hit on the outside of the ring by Shawn Michaels with the super kick, and that was it.
Sweet chin music.
Sweet chin music, right. But yeah, that was the end of it. I thought that was it was effective. I know a lot of people on the internet are upset with it, but I think it's
what did everyone on the internet want?
That Goldberg's wrestling Dolph, that Goldberg's wrestling again, that Goldberg's getting a slot on the card, that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a hollow win when you think about it. I mean, no disrespect to Goldberg, but if you're WWE, what the hell do you care about how he feels about his last match win? That's not what you're in business to be doing right now. You're in business to be taking your talents that you have currently on that roster and making them better, making them bigger stars, and making money off them. So if Dolph goes over, hell, I'll be proven wrong, and that'd be a great thing. That'd be good business by WWE, but that's not what's going to happen. They're going to have Goldberg come back and win. To what? Satiate that he isn't happy how his last match went? That's not what you're in the business to do. You're not in that business.
But he is a superstar, and this is automatically one of the bigger matches on the show. As far as interest goes. I mean, the fans were going crazy for Goldberg at the end. He got one of the biggest reactions.
Let me ask you something though. Imagine the Attitude Era, right? And they go back and they bring in not Sergeant Slaughter, but somebody who was like I don't know, maybe a Sergeant, somebody super duper over from the generation before that Attitude Era, right?
Randy Savage.
Okay, and Randy Savage. You think WWE would have put Randy Savage over on The Rock or Stone Cold or any I would argue maybe any of those guys.
Probably Billy Gunn, though. That's probably where Dolph is, right?
Okay, I don't see that. They wouldn't make that match up. They would not.
Yeah.
They would not satiate Macho Man's ego that he didn't have a good enough match on his last outing, well past his prime. Okay, retired, not past his prime. Retired. Okay, we're talking after WCW Nitro.
Right,
retired.
right.
He comes back to Raw.
Right.
No way. They would never do that for one of their Attitude Era up and comer. I just don't know way. They'd be like, why are we doing this? We're creating new content, new stars of tomorrow are today now. That was their whole mindset, right?
Yeah.
That's what it needs to be every era.
They've pretty much stopped that like the last 10 years.
I just don't get the ass kissing of, I get the star power thing. Like you said, it gets more eyeballs on it, right? Okay, that's great. Get more eyeballs. The eyeballs get brought to the match. They don't give a crap who. The eyeballs don't move or leave based on wins and losses. They're there for the match. It's your job as a company to take advantage of that opportunity and put the most in your investment by getting that other talent over with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. They've kind of they don't know how to do that anymore. Now, in theory,
it's scared Bill won't do it. He won't come wrestle unless he wins.
I bet he would. I mean, he lost to Taker last month, and I'm sure Goldberg doesn't care about winning and losing. I just think WWE doesn't see any of the young talent at that level.
What I get about these writers, Vince Russo is doing the TNA too with Kurt all the time and others. Like, they're the talents telling you they want to put younger talent over. Who the hell are you to tell them no?
Yeah. I mean, if it were up to me, I mean, you obviously have Goldberg beat Ziggler. I don't think it's going to be a 30-second squash like a lot of people are picking, because I don't think Goldberg would want to do a redemption match to just do 2 moves. I don't think it's going to be a long match.
That's all he feels safe doing, so he doesn't mess it up or get hurt or something bad happen again.
It could be, but I think if he's coming back, he probably wants to show a little more. We'll see. I think it's maybe 5 to 7 minutes. Yeah, but then what I'd ideally like to see is then he gets beat down by somebody like a Drew McIntyre. Okay. And it leads to a feud there which ends up with Drew going over.
Okay, I'm all for that.
I don't see that happening, but that's.
But that's making use of the money you're paying him.
Exactly.
He was.
Yeah.
You don't book him the same way you did when he wrestled there 15 years ago. He's here. He should be here and be used like Triple H. There are others to get younger talent over.
Yeah. A lot of people in the chat room were saying put Matt Riddle against Goldberg after that. Have you been paying attention to this?
I have, but physically it looks ridiculous because of how Matt Riddle, and he's shredded, don't get me wrong, but next to Bill Goldberg, he looks like Stretch Armstrong. But he's a legit fighter, and I think he's entertaining as hell.
Did you see the stuff with him and Jericho today?
Today? No. No, tell me.
So Jericho basically... he tweeted this. So someone tweeted a passage from Jericho's book where Jericho talked about how he made fun of British Bulldog when he was younger, and then later was proven wrong, and how you shouldn't be, if you're a younger star, you shouldn't be, making fun of the legends. And Jericho basically retweeted that and said, "Listen and learn, kid," to Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle replied with this video that said, because Booker T was critical of him recently, Lance Storm.
Riddle?
Of Riddle, yeah. Just disrespecting the legend. So he posted this video where he kind of turns around, looks at the camera, makes a goofy face, and says, "It's almost like you all want to get beat up before you retire." This is what Matt Riddle wrote. And then he got a lot more into it after that. He posted a video. He said, "Jericho, I'll beat the shit out of you. You're soft as hell. Even in his prime, he would have beat the shit out of him. So listen and learn. Shut your mouth." He ripped into Lance Storm, saying he was boring as a trainer. He did a seminar at Lance's camp and fell asleep. Booker T didn't really go too much into Booker T. He said he likes Booker T. He doesn't have any heat. But if he watched his matches, he'd realize that he can work, because Booker was basically saying that Riddle needs work. So Yeah, Riddle kind of basically ripping into him, and then Jericho posted a little video just spoofing one of Riddle's earlier videos. So, yeah, it's
Sweet, man. And the guy can have a 20-minute match without even touching the ropes, without hitting the ropes.
yeah,
Like, he is good.
he is good, but a Twitter fight, Jericho's probably one of the last people I'd want to pick one of those with, just because he's so witty. He's just
Yeah, he is witty.
he can make you look bad.
And he's also tough.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
don't
know
know.
why?
He,
Chris will punch you right in the face.
dude, he fought Goldberg backstage
Oh,
once,
that's right. Yeah. So,
and he fought Brock Lesnar. So,
see? Yeah, man. He's tough.
yeah.
Definitely a pro hockey player's kid, that's for certain.
Yeah, exactly. He's an alpha.
Yeah.
A couple other quick things we talked about WWE on Fox this fall. So apparently they're going to try to go back to completely split rosters again, not all these SmackDown guys on Raw, and again we'll see how it goes. If ratings fall, I'm sure it'll be back to where it is now.
How do you? I know you guys like the brand split when it's done right. I don't think we have. We have so many talented guys. We do. We just don't have so many that are over.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're going to Fox, you got to have all hands on deck.
Yeah. No, I like the idea of a brand split in theory. Is if you're getting young guys over and moving them up the card,
Right.
and it's not, but they haven't been doing that. So
No, they have so many good talents. They should already by now have their heavyweight championship level set, Intercontinental RVD Jeff Jarrett level. We always call it right. That level set, U.S. title level, whatever you guys think that is. To me, it's like Lex Luger, guys like that level set with I'm talking like 10 people at least.
Right.
Those 3 divisions alone. Then his tag division should be set. There's so many talented people. They just have done a piss poor job of raising their stock to fit those categories to be perennial people for those divisions.
Right. And without having any consistency with their booking as well. Like Bobby Roode, they change his name and give him, have him freshen his look up, and he's off of TV in 2 weeks.
He would be perfect for the U.S. level.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Mojo Rawley, you're trying this new gimmick, but never even really put it on TV. Never even given a chance to work. So,
Yep.
but it's a broken record. But hopefully that changes soon. We got AEW coming up, and the last thing we got is AEW. Their tickets for their first show on TNT went on sale this past Friday and sold out again first day.
And from what I heard, it could have been quicker than 2 hours.
Yeah, there were a lot of problems.
Screw ups were happening with Ticketmaster, right?
Yeah.
Why were they using Ticketmaster and not our stuff? Why not what's it called, StubHub?
So StubHub because StubHub buys them from Ticketmaster.
Why not SeatGeek?
So they all pretty much buy them because they're secondhand. So they're the secondary market. So they buy it from the primary. So tickets are available now on StubHub and SeatGeek. But today, a bunch of tickets, I think a few thousand tickets were released on Ticketmaster. So last week they sold about 10,000 tickets. The arena should hold about 14,000. Then they kind of setting up production and then release some more, and there probably will be a few more released, probably another 1,000 or so. But yeah, quick sellout. But now is where we're probably going to get into the more kind of seeing where they're really going to fall. With the second and third shows.
Yeah.
But still very, very impressive, and that's a big arena that they sold out.
You know what I was thinking? Why I think Cody took this match?
Oh, with Sammy Guevara?
Yeah, because when we go back and we talk about Monday Nitro, you can't have any DVD, any conversation that's on television with former wrestlers or current wrestlers talking about Monday Nitro without the clip of what playing. Brian Pillman kicking it off versus, was it Jushin Liger?
Yeah.
Is that what you can't do it without that. They do it in every single story that they talk about Nitro. It's always there. So I think that's probably why he took this, because he's the first official match of this new company's era. And that's going to be a big deal 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah. Did you hear about the other match that was announced for the TV taping?
Yeah, who's Jericho's two partners?
So it's Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks against Chris Jericho, two mystery partners. There's speculation it might be LAX from Impact. Their contracts are rumored to be up this month.
Not good enough. Not good enough. I'd go back to
That's what I think.
What's his name? The two guys. I just wrestled them a bunch, but I don't care. I can watch it again. Who is it?
Phoenix and Pentagon.
I know they've done it to death, but I can watch it again. More than LAX.
Yeah.
Unless you put it as a homicide back together, I'd watch that. But
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like who else is there? I mean, you could put two randoms like Cass and Big Cass and somebody else like that. Or I don't see them bringing in Enzo, but
who do you think they'll bring in? Though, don't you think this will be a surprise to bring?
I think it has to be a name if you're going to push it as a surprise.
Yeah, me too.
Otherwise, I think it would just your first TV show. You don't want to have disappointing surprises. So, and that's why I agree with you. I don't see LAX.
But you got to be able to work the Young Bucks style and Kenny Omega style.
Right.
So
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not going to have Kevin Nash show up. They're not going to have me show up. They're not going to, you know what I mean? It's going to have to be, you know what I mean? Someone that
could go. Like do
go.
The high flying.
Yeah.
And in that case, that would be the current. Yeah. I mean, LAX fits that bill, but I don't know. We'll see.
Who else is out there? What about...
I mean, you could have Pac, Pac and...
What about that other British kid? Super over, what's his name? He's
Pac?
got into a spat. He's money. No, but the guy who just got into a spat Twitter beef with Seth Rollins.
Oh, Will Ospreay? He's under contract with New Japan. But you can have Pac and Big Cass, or so you got like a name and a really talented guy, and Cass could just do power moves, and it's something you don't really see coming. I don't know, but I like that. I like that you're starting your first show off with a surprise, and it's just as long as you deliver.
Guys talking about it.
Yeah. So Matt, we got a busy week coming up, man. We got SmackDown tomorrow, and then 4 straight nights. TakeOver, SummerSlam, and then Raw and SmackDown. So
I do like the pay-per-view, especially with NXT.
Yeah, the takeovers are fun.
Yeah.
SummerSlam could be late because it's a 2-hour pre-show starting at 5 Eastern and 5 to 7, and then chances are the main card is gonna be about 5 hours. Yeah, 4.5. So it's gonna be a long one on Sunday, but we'll be here. So keep checking back here on the Wrestling Podcast. We're gonna have people on the ground at SummerSlam covering the event live as well. So keep checking out Wrestling Inc. Matt, anything to plug?
Twitter, you see it on the bottom of the screen. Same with my Instagram.
But yeah, give him a follow. Give me a follow as well. And thanks a lot for joining us, and we will see you here again tomorrow.